Let's do this. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to my first episode of Saturdays with ShaDeSLaYeR. Joining me today for the show on very last notice is none other than the one and only Abhishek Rane. Welcome to the show, Rane. What's up?
Nothing much, man. Thanks for having me on the show. I mean, it's a pleasure being out here. Just preparing now for my matches today, and that's about it.
Yeah, we are waiting, we're waiting in bated breath. I know there is quite a lot at stake, especially rather the agreement between you and Rats is one among them. What we will talk about that later on the show. For first though, could you give us a brief intro of yourself, Rani?
So, as you all know, my name is Abhishek Rane. I go under the in-game name of Fear Unleashed, and eventually I did shorten my name to Fear, and that's pretty much why I'm called a wannabe EG Fear. Irrespective of that, I have done my master's in marketing management. So my studies are going side by side due to with my gaming.
Right.
I used to be a streamer in the UK. Now my Indian internet bandwidth does not allow me to stream daily because I'll probably lose my 50 GB in 2 days. Uh,
Easily.
Easily, yeah. Because back in time I did try streaming in India and I had to re-upgrade my bandwidth for 1 month when I was streaming in
Right.
India. Other than that, currently I'm playing for a team named Team 101. Um, and that's pretty much about me. Like for my past teams, I could talk about is I started off with a noob team named Team F2K, that's Fight to Kill, which was not really famous out there because it was just my first team when I started Dota 2, and that time it was a when I started Dota 1, and that time it was a craze. Like you have to form a team and play competitive, and you'll
Yeah.
be cool by doing that. So that was just a start for me, but then eventually I just kept playing, kept practicing, and formed Team FOE, which currently I think is the most famous team I've had because if people do hear my name, they relate me with Team FOE.
Yeah, me myself, when it pretty much synergizes. When I say Rane, it's pretty much for fear. You know that the two are in sync. So that's exactly how me and I'm pretty sure most of the community know as well. So yeah, go ahead. You can go ahead and talk about the rest of your competitive experience.
I mean, that's the team that pretty much got me all the fame and all the people that know me are pretty much due to Team FOE and all the team. I used to play mid for that, and there were phases where I was the captain of the team or where my teammate was the captain of the team. Besides that, then after that, I switched to like at a point there was some internal problems, so the team disbanded, and I switched to BOC where I played in a lineup with me, Gifty, who I'm not really sure is that popular now. Two of the most popular players in India, Swifty and A35, were in that team who were actually supporting me that back then, so that was really a good thing.
Yeah,
Uh,
later on when I do have Swifty on, I'm gonna specifically ask things about during the time during his stay in BOC, how his stint as a support went by, and if that was one of the reasons he wanted to shift to the mid lane. So that is a discussion we'll have to keep on hold for another day. Yeah, Rani, sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead.
yeah, so then after that, pretty much Atul joined BOC when he picked up A35 and took him to Dulles Gaming, and that's pretty much why BOC pretty much disbanded because there was no really dedicated players in it who could sacrifice the entire time to play. So that team got over.
Right.
I played in Dulles Gaming for a while. I played here and there in random teams. I played for Extreme Gaming, a tournament. But after that, I went to the UK and quit competitive for a bit. I started streaming, thinking that at least I can be somewhere in the competitive scene, somewhere in the Indian gaming scene.
Right.
But that really wasn't that successful since I'm not a caster, so I really don't get that many viewers. As
Right.
an Indian streamer, getting viewers is really hard because when you don't have quality options on your stream, people don't really watch you because the quality sucks
Yeah,
essentially.
yeah. That was the first issue that we had to address here at the LXG studio as well. Call everybody does need with the I must say average at best internet that we guys do have here in India. Not many people can watch the stream rather in anything higher than medium quality. So yeah, I understand that. I faced that myself in more than one occasion. So yeah, go ahead and now your journey after BOC led to?
Uh, After BOC, pretty much like it disbanded. I streamed for a bit. I quit streaming because it really wasn't doing me any good.
Right.
Then after that, I spoke to my old teammates who were my old FOE teammates, asking them to reform a team, and that's how the full idea of 101 came back. And they were like, when you come back to India, we'll probably reform and try going competitive again.
Right. So perfect. So yeah, the next question is gonna be, how is a typical day for Rane?
Typical day for me probably get up, go to work if I feel like, because it's my own business. Then come back, scrim, play some Dota, and then on weekends pretty much go for a party with my friends. I mean, I do like my social life more than anything. So yeah, on weekends I hardly scrim with my team.
Right. So there you go, people. We have a party animal in the house. Abhishek Rane. With that though, what do you what are your five favorite heroes that you play in pub and in competitive?
I I mean, both the heroes are completely different in pubs and
Yeah,
competitive.
yeah. That's why those are two separate questions.
Like for pubs, I generally play mid, so stuff like SF, Queen of Pain, Ember Spirit,
Right.
Templar Assassin, and Lina would be my five heroes because those are all mid heroes, and in pubs I pretty much only go mid. I hate playing other roles.
Right.
Whereas currently in my team I'm an offlane hero, so heroes like Tusk,
Correct.
Clockwork,
I saw you.
Phoenix.
I saw you pull out a couple of Slada games as well. So.
Not really one of my favorite heroes, but I have to play him in case like some you don't have no choice in draft.
Right. Shit comes down. You're pretty much forced into playing the in meta heroes since they're pretty much the strongest
And
ones you can go for.
also I'm not even the captain of my team, so I can't pick whatever I want.
Oh, oh so you pretty much have no say whatsoever in the draft, is it?
True. I mean,
Uh,
we do discuss the draft. Like everyone discusses the draft, but at the end, the final say is with the captain.
right. That's perfect. So, what do you think? Yeah, the main question. What do you think about the current pro Dota scene in India?
Uh, I don't really think it's going that well because teams don't stick together. It's like I mean I know two besides Neckbreak and Illusions, considering them outside the topic, I do not see any team that has really stuck together for a very long time and tried to make a name out there. It and it's mainly because people don't find it. What's the word for it? People really don't find it motivating enough because they don't
Right.
get anything out of playing Dota. Like Illusions and Neckbreak are now sponsored; they get money out of playing Dota and everything, so they actually have a motivational factor. Whereas for other teams who keep shuffling losses, they're like, "We lost a tournament now. It's let's disband," and that's happened in many tournaments. After various tournaments, teams just disband because they lose.
Right.
So it's until people really get a motivational factor to go ahead and actually form a stable lineup, practice with a lineup, and actually try to beat the top teams in India. It's really hard for the Indian team to grow that fast.
Right. So I think that is pretty much indisputable. I've seen many teams. In fact, a couple of teams I played for as well. You end up on the wrong side of the stick in like a couple of tournaments, and there's pretty much an immediate disband. There's chaos. People no longer want to. The patience I would say is lacking when it comes to players. They want immediate success. You go down in a couple of tournaments. There's no going back to the drawing board and say this went wrong. Say X player did this wrong. Player Y probably could have done this better, and you work towards it. None of that happens. It's pretty much disband. And I must say that to a little extent factored in for Team Elun. Team Elun's experienced it as well in the recent past. So even the best get hit by this storm. So with that, you have a new roster now, Team 101 in India. Can you give us a brief intro of your players and how things are going around in Team 101, as well as how different it is to the Team 101 that played in the JDL Europe season?
The JDL Europe season team 101 was not really was not really was a last minute team, to be honest. I mean, I wanted to play tournaments, so I told my current captain, that's AJ. I
Right.
told him that I want to play competitive. I mean, I want to play a tournament. I've not played a tournament since a year. I want to get back into that scene. So
Right.
then I just found the JD at the Europe season. I registered for it. I registered me, AJ, and three of my other friends. Not only a team, but we are all friends play together.
Right.
So at the end, we played every game together and fared really well. But after that, we didn't really play more because then I really wanted to make a professional team, try to go competitive if nothing else. So then that team just, I mean, we just shuffle the players around. And currently also I do not have a stable lineup. It's
Right.
like me, AJ, and we are like pretty much three stand-ins currently
Huh?
playing with us constantly. But it's not like they have. It's not like, I
Right.
mean, they play with us every match till date, but they haven't. They are officially with us right now.
Right. I'm guessing Doggy Dog has a different opinion slash stand when it comes to that. I'm pretty sure he's actually in the chat right now, flaming you. So we'll come back to that. We'll come back to that later. So for now, it's pretty much two players, and I would say three between the stand-in and permanent
Yeah,
roster
J-
position. Yeah, they're pretty much in the transit for now. So
yes, yes, yes.
yeah, and yeah. So roles. Are you fixed on role? You and AJ are. I've seen you. You pretty much used to be a mid player, and now you're playing offlane. So I'm guessing roles between you and AJ isn't fixed for now. You can go ahead and reveal your temporary roster as well, and tell us what roles they're playing right now.
Okay, so currently, like AJ has been playing carry for every team I've had, and he's still playing carry. He's also the captain of my team.
Right.
I my role is not fixed right now until we get our like currently I'm playing offlane for team 101. But suppose we get a better offlaner and we don't find a support or something like that, I'll keep switching between offlane and support
Right.
until we really find a proper lineup.
Yeah.
Irina Bobo, who is Musty's cafe mate, is a mid solo player. Then Musty plays with us here
Oh,
and there.
oh,
It,
Idina
Irina
Bobo
Bobo.
is it Rishabh?
No, it's Musty's cafe player, a cafe mate.
Oh, the biggest breaking bomb. Musty's been taking credit for being Idina Bobo. So, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it first. It's not Musty, it's his cafe mate. So, yeah, there we go. So, Musty plays support, is it, when he does play with you?
It it's Musty is with us when we don't have any other player. We have no choice.
Right.
So
So, he did
uh,
tell me, he did tell me that he's playing today, so.
yeah, he is playing with us today as well.
Yeah, so
That
yeah.
might just make us lose the game, but it's fine. We'll manage.
All right, so Musty is on support. You transit between support as well as mid off lane, whatever the team needs. We have AJ on carry, and
Uh,
who are the other two people?
and we have you might know definition from Bangalore.
Yeah,
He's our support player as well. So that's
right,
pretty much a five-man roster.
right,
We did have a person called Venom playing with us who's not really famous in the scene, but he has too many issues with his education. I mean, he's studying right now. He can't come for lands and all
right.
that, so he can't really dedicate his time. So now we're just still trying to figure out two potent supports for us, or at least one potent support, who we can pretty much scrim every day and try to make a name out
Right.
there.
I did see Venom playing Lena support on that game too, if I'm not mistaken. Played a
Yeah.
really good Lena, yeah. So that again, so many. It's a typical pattern that I see here with Indian players. Most of them being that again comes to play here. Most of them are 18, 19. 16 to 19, so the education plays a big role as well. Every now and then you have your tests, your exams, and peop some people not doing well because they're putting a lot of focus into Dota 2, and temporarily having to move away because there are problems at home. You have your parents shouting at you as well as your relatives. So there is some pressure out there as well, and factoring all in, we see many players in and out of the scene regularly. So and with that, what way were there any specific preparations you had for CBC League, and what like how is the daily practice routine for Team 101?
Um, like before entering CVC, I really didn't know the tournament format really well.
Right.
So since we were completely newly formed, and since I didn't know what teams were actually participating in that level of a tournament, I expected to be in top eight, and that would make me feel at least a bit decent, because that would probably get us an invite into the next tournament as champions, and we'll get some goodies or something like that.
Yeah.
For practice, I mean, our practice is very dependent on when players are online in relation to probably our two support players
Right.
because of the educational issue. Like they have problems with their studies and all that. But so until we actually get two stable supports, we can't really say we practice much. I mean, me, AJ, and Idina probably practice a lot,
Yeah.
but like Musti's playing with us pretty much every day. Uh, Other than that, I mean, until we find two supports, I'm not gonna really call it practicing daily.
Yeah, it's pretty much you guys. It's pretty much down to the stable players in the roster getting practice rather than you practicing gelling the team together as a whole. Since you are running quite a lot of standards, so yeah, that's fair enough. What do you think about? What are your thoughts on 6.85B and the current meta?
Uh, like in, I actually do not like the current meta at all, just because of those few heroes that are so strong. Like the Alchemist is there.
Right.
Doom did get nerfed, but he's still somewhere out there. And
Yeah.
these are the heroes that are really hard to deal with in competitive games and in pub games. Like in a pub game, if you're against an Alchemist, you have to go full tryhard. If
Right.
you're against a Doom, and my heroes are such like Lina, Queen of Pain, and such, so I have to make a Lincoln against a Doom. So
Yeah.
it just gives me those, like, it does not let me play those free games where I'm comfortable. I don't have to really worry about what's going on in the opponent. I just have to play my own game and do what I do normally.
Right.
So I and I I used to hate the last patch, which was related to just farming, 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 and taking it to late game.
Yeah.
But I think that was a easier patch to play because being an offlaner or a mid solo, you have to have a lot of involvement in team fights, and you need to
Right.
make space for your carry so that he can farm. So
Right.
there's a lot more reliability on these two roles I feel in this patch, like on the carry, and the support rotation as well. So I mean, the last patch was much easier for me to be honest, but then this patch just makes it more entertaining and more competitive.
That was pretty much the patch of your gyrocopter as well as the Phantom Lancer time and time again showing up. Phantom Lancer pretty much thanks to the one and only the CDEC player.
Yeah,
It's
aggressive.
aggressive shit. And for me being an aggressive fanboy, it was pretty much an insult to forget his name. But yeah, aggressive TI5 pretty much single-handedly brought PL back into the meta. Almost pretty much to a first place pick for a few teams other than CDEC as well. So props to that. And yeah, what do you think about talking about the current meta? What do you think about the games these days? Is it decide? I'm just talking about competitive, not about the pubs. Is it does early game factor play a major part in deciding who wins, or is it more about team fights, towers taken down, and split push and stuff like that? What are your thoughts on that?
Uh, I honestly think it's like both have their equal say in it
Right.
because currently it's all about securing the early and mid game so that if by chance the game does go to the late game phase, you have made enough space for your mid hero and your safe lane carry to farm enough.
Right.
So I really think that both the factors matter. I mean, like currently we see the offlane picks like Slana coming in, Tusk coming in, which are really high gank like they gank a lot.
Right.
So you have with such heroes coming in the meta and all, you have to probably keep fighting early on, secure the early game in such a way that your carry can single-handedly win you the late game because of the space you made for him.
Right.
And coming to the mid game, late game part, it depends from game to game whether it matters on split push, whether it matters on farming or ganking, because every lineup eventually has a different scenario. Like for a for a for people like Alliance, when they pick up a Fury or something, they prefer the Rat Dota, prefer split pushing, prefer winning games that way.
Right.
Whereas there are other teams who, well, like say a team like OG who like early aggression, bringing the carry into the battles earlier in the game. So it really matters from team to team as to what style they are convenient with in playing
Right.
a specific game.
Right. 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 So yeah, that pretty much sums it up. I've seen many teams put emphasis on early game. I've seen, in fact, in the Indian scene, I've seen the old roster of Roar. They never actually typically went for a hard carry in more than one scenario. They used to go for that mid shadow fiend, safe lane, queen of pain. You have an offlane undying, and you just snowball off there and finish early. While some other teams like your team Elloons and stuff love to go for your Templar Assassin, your Gyrocopters, your anti mages, and secure it pretty much too late game. So yeah, it's pretty much just comes down to play a team preference and their comfort rather. And yeah, the biggest. I'm pretty much. This is the question. How most of the Indians are waiting for. You there has been talk and there has been people complaining about MMR hell. Does that exist? And if yes, how does one get out of it?
Honestly, like people just say that I'm a 3K player, I'm actually a 4K player, but I'm just stuck on a 3K bracket because of my teammates and all that.
Exactly.
Okay, there are games and there are situations where you get terrible teammates or the game just doesn't go in your favor no matter how well you play.
Right.
There are situations with that, but at the end of it, if you have 2K MMR and you can't get out of the 2K bracket, it just means that you are a 2K player. Like current because I've like currently I'm on 4.5K solo.
Right.
I can go around telling people that I've not played solo MMR since 1 year.
Right.
So if I play solo MMR, I would be 5.5. But eventually, my MMR shows I'm not a 5.5K player, so I'm still stuck on the 4.5K bracket. Like I have had friends come and tell me, like not well-known players, but my friends who are around 3.5K,
Right.
they tell me that, bro, you are a 5K player. I feel I'm a 4.5K player currently. But then it does not really work like that because if you are really a 5K player, you will get out of the 4K bracket no matter what. It is
Right.
very, very easy because I've seen players like my two of my teammates. I've seen players like Swifty. I mean, Swifty was a support player back in the day.
Right.
So I mean, it's you transition your role, you practice daily, you win your game on your own at the end of the day.
Right.
In solo MMR, if you're playing in a party, you play as a team and you win together. But at solo MMR, if you want to just win your MMR, probably pick some heroes that can win the game alone without relying on your team, so that
Right.
you don't have excuses at the end saying I lost because of my team.
Right. Yeah, could you give us a couple of at least 2 to 3 heroes that our viewers can play that pretty much is like the best hero you could go for to get out of your MMR bracket? And I'm guessing Templar Assassin is one of them.
Templar Assassin is definitely one of them. Shadow Fiend is one of them, in my opinion, but many people find it hard to play. And the problem about Shadow Fiend is people at low MMR do not go for the build that is required to go
Right.
for. Like people still prefer the fun build of the Yules and the Blink. Even I do that in my bracket.
Yeah, I do that. Back in 6.84, I used to do it, and I love my single KO kills with the use Requiem. So I still go ahead and do it in my fun pubs. But then yeah, if you
Because
do, yeah.
people have that mindset that you're that okay, I'll get a use blink in like say 16, 17 or 20 minutes max. I'll go killing around people, but at the end when the 40-minute mark comes, you have a use blink BKB with an SF, then you just can't do anything with that hero. So I think heroes like SF with a proper build on him, EA, Queen of Pain, and Ember Spirit are the best four heroes for probably increasing MMR in a pub.
Right.
Currently Alchemist because he's in the meta, but he will go out of the meta in a month.
Right, right. Yeah, it's second week of December is when the patch is due, right after Summit 4 ends. So that is where we probably see. And from what we've heard from Ice Frog, it's gonna be a big patch coming in. So we're gonna probably see all the meta heroes tossed out of the window, and we'll probably have to welcome in some heroes from the previous meta. Who knows? OD. I actually have my fingers crossed saying OD is probably going to be one of the heroes that are going to come back into the scene, especially with RTZ talking a lot about that
I
as
hope
well.
not. I hope not.
Is it OD one of your favorite heroes? I
I
know
mean,
it is more of a mechanical hero than doesn't allow any much of flashy plays either.
exactly. I find that hero boring. Like heroes like OD or I mean
Razor mid.
OD Razor Viper. I mean these heroes they are needed in many games, but they are boring. I mean you can't really make those flashy plays if you actually want to
Right,
as a solo player.
right.
So they don't really suit my playstyle at all.
I can guess with Viper in the meta. That's probably now I know the reason why you got out of mid. With Viper being one of the top heroes in the meta, especially going up against heroes like your Tiny Ursa, you don't really want to be the player playing the Viper. Say in a best of 3 series, all 3 games in a row. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it first here. Yeah, I'm guessing you did follow TI5 and the Frankfurt Mages, right?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. So, what are your thoughts on both those tournaments? Who are your standout players, standout teams, and any specific things you liked about both those tournaments?
I mean, in both the tournaments, the team I wanted to win won. I mean, since like normally I'll be rooting for Navi, but then they aren't really going for a.
Yeah,
They are.
I know for a fact you're a Navi fanboy, and me, I'm pretty much like the biggest Navi fan straight ever. You can even call me Navi fan, I don't care. Pretty much
Yeah,
Navi all the way, but then yeah,
definitely.
sadly,
I mean, at the end, you do know Navi's capabilities. They aren't doing well right now. Eventually, if they, I mean, I hope they do well later on.
right,
So I am supporting Navi eventually in all tournaments, but for TI 5, I was supporting EG completely, and they did play an amazing game with RV. I did feel bad after they kicked RV after TI 5, which I really didn't find it the right decision, but
right.
apparently it was decided before TI 5 even started.
Yeah, it was from what I read. It was because of the attitude in game from Avi is what they didn't like. But then his hero pool pretty much single handedly won TI5 for EG with CDEC having to not just CDEC, pretty much all the Chinese teams having to first phase ban out either the Techies or the Naga and feel the wrath if they don't.
Yeah, I currently find RV one of the best position fours just because of the amount of farm he utilizes the map so well that he just gets so much farm with that position four role, and that's really really helpful to a team.
Right. Right, I know you. Especially, I've seen few of his Visage games. Man, oh my God, he has that axe and Solar Crest in like sub 25 minutes for a position for support is pretty much unheard of. Even his infamous Kyrath mage forms quite a lot, I must say. With that, okay, talking. Let's come back to from Frankfurt from TI5 back to CBC. Your predictions for the final standings of CBC.
You mean the top
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 four.
top four? Probably number one being Neckbreak, number two being Illusions. I'm not sure which team is still there in the tournament. I think
There is.
Illusions.
I'll let you know. The top, the upper bracket is right now Neck Break, Illuns, POC, and the new Rory Sports Squad, which is pretty much the old three players of BX plus two new players. So that's that's in the upper bracket, and the lower bracket there's Team 101, Jinchuriki Gaming, and a couple of others that my just immediately hasn't.
I think irrespective of that, the upper bracket honestly right now are going to be the top four. I I mean, Neckbreak and Illusions are going to be top two for sure.
Right.
Since Raw Esports has bad excuse players who are really, really high skill players, I
Yeah.
think they're going number three. And we played POC, they beat us, so I'm going to put them for number four.
All right. I actually thought you would figure Team 101 in one of those slots, but
I mean, I would love to be the top five. Like, I
right.
would honestly love to make
Yeah,
it
that's
back to the loser bracket as a top four.
right.
But just for the situation that we lost to POC 2-0 and not like a 2-1 game,
Right.
I would just give them the benefit of doubt out here and keep them in the fourth place.
Cool. That's yeah. That I usually when I speak to people, they're like, yeah, yeah, our team is gonna do it, but then real well said there. You're being a realist. More than yeah. So that's perfectly said. And yeah, another question. This is pertaining to the Indian scene. What, according to you, does it take for a team to be successful professionally in Dota 2? You can talk. You can generally give me an answer and specifically to the Indian scene as well.
I think the basic thing is finding five players who literally have the same motive in mind, and that's really, really hard in the India scene. I mean, I can go around finding former players who tell me that I want to play competitive, I want to win. But
Right.
that does not make you win. You have to have that mindset and the capability of actually finding those five players who want to win, who want to practice daily, who want to do whatever they can and dedicate all their time to pretty much practicing and trying to be the best.
Right.
Because teams right now think that okay, I'm a 5K player, you're a 5K player, we have two other 4.5K players in our team, we can do well in India. Does not work that way.
Right.
The team might have high skilled players but no synergy at all or no dedication at all, and that just makes the team crumble. Because I've honestly seen many high, like I don't remember names right now, but I've seen them before. Many Indian high skilled teams disband
Right.
high skill player wise, not not like synergy wise, just because they didn't fare well in a tournament. And if you find players who even after a loss decide that okay, we lost this tournament, we made these mistakes, so and so, such like these things went wrong, we'll rectify them in the next tournament and probably perform better. And by doing that slowly, you do get better as a team and as a player themselves, and can probably make it to the top one day, of course. I mean, it's all about dedication and finding the players with the same mentality as you.
Right. So, talking about uh, yeah, that is one point. What do you think about teams where the players are scattered all over India and not in the same place, compared to a team which is in from a single location who can pretty much play from a single cafe? Does that play a major factor now that we have Skype, TeamSpeak, and stuff?
I mean, it does play a factor to some extent because sometimes people from the same city bond more, gel more, and talk more. Like they have more chances of meeting out, talking out things, and all that.
Right.
Whereas, I mean, Skype and TeamSpeak does provide a lot of benefits to players for my team as well because my team is not completely Bombay based. We have players from Bangalore as well.
Right.
So we do use Skype, and at the end, communication is mainly the key factor of winning a game. If you do not
Yeah.
communicate, you lose a game. So if teams are on LAN, it's really more beneficial because it helps in proper team motivation, helps in bonding, and just helps to keep the team encouraged.
Right.
Whereas on Skype, you have the communication factor, but then sometimes it's internet problems or stuff like infrastructure problems where people really can't use Skype or people have low FPS and all that things,
Right.
which sometimes turn out to be a problem. But then if you want to go pro, you have to have a decent setup to
Yeah.
actually try to go pro.
Yeah, that's pretty. Yeah, that's pretty much given for anyone who wants to does aim to turn pro. Also, talking about players from the same place, we know for a fact that all the top professional teams have a team house. I know Team Secret doesn't have one, but pretty much everyone else does have a team house. So, is that does is like you said, I know for a fact it does help quite a lot in the long run, but then is it viable here in India, and if yes, when do you see it happening here in the Indian Dota 2 scene?
Currently, I mean, currently I don't think it's that heavily viable. I mean, maybe a year down the line it could be viable. I hope it's viable that time, of course, but currently I do not think it's that viable because it's not only the players that can think of it that way; it's also their families. And in India, families do not. I mean, few families do, but a lot of families do not support their son taking
Yeah.
esports to a competitive level.
Right.
So due to that, I don't even think their family would let them would tell their son, okay, go to your gaming house, go practice for whatever 1 month, come back and try to win a tournament. If you have that type of parents, then you're just lucky. Give
I
esports a go.
right.
But I mean, that's the scenario right now. Until esports gets a bigger name in India and actually is respected by elders, so that they give their children motivation to actually play if they're actually good and not wasting their time,
Right.
then then I think it would be a good time to actually think of a gaming house and like taking it to that level because otherwise I don't think you'd really be successful. And also for a gaming house, a team has to have good contacts because if you're in a gaming house and you're scrimming against Indian teams which are not the top three in India, you
Right.
aren't really getting that much practice that you would require.
Right.
Like currently, I mean currently for our team also there are many Indian teams that can beat us,
Right.
which are not recognized at all. But the thing is that until one day we know that we can't, if we scrim against say a team like Illusions and we get stomped every time, we won't be doing well. Like once we beat Illusions, we can pretty much beat the other teams in India.
Right.
Keeping
Yeah.
that as the final goal is really something that teams should think of before thinking of going to a gaming house or practicing like into a gaming house and living together and all that, because that's just a long thought of now.
Yeah, it's. I think probably the first team we could see doing that is Neckbreak or Team Loons here. They probably get a gaming house somewhere in Europe where they want to. If they're looking to like burst into the international scene, I think that's probably when people have actually asked me why is the Indian team falling behind. One thing I say in game it's players lacking discipline, and outside I say it's their lack of exposure to the international scene. Probably like 6 months, say in anywhere in Europe, they have a gaming house. They constantly scrim every day. I would say that's like the best chance that we have. Would you agree, Rane?
Uh, I I don't think so currently because of the skill gap. I mean, like okay, team like currently Neckbreak don't take part in JDL tournaments, if
Right.
I'm not wrong.
Yeah,
And
if I'm not mistaken, I think they're in a tier lower than the ones Illusions is participating in currently. So I'm not
and
really sure on that, but yeah.
Illusions is heavily right now. I mean, is in the tier this season. I mean, I forgot what. I think they're the second level of the
Yeah,
tournament.
they're in 2.2.
Okay, so okay, they have doing. I mean, these two teams are the only two teams doing fairly well in JDL. But once they step out of India,
Right.
the games don't are not as easy as they were in India. So once an Indian team can probably be somewhere in a tier one SEA team, then only they should get a thought of taking a gaming house. Otherwise, I don't think really it'll be that fruitful of the time.
All right. All right. Yeah. That's pretty fair. So with that, okay. Now we will probably come back to some lighter stuff. Uh, let's keep the serious stuff on hold for now. What are your goals for the future for your future running?
In compared to gaming or in
Yeah,
general?
you both in gaming as well as in general.
In general, probably it'll be like I'll be going back to UK for a month in January. Once I
Right.
come back, I'll probably find a job in the marketing line somewhere. If I mean, I'd like to find a job in the gaming line, but if that does not work out, then marketing is my end goal.
Right.
Whereas for currently my gaming career, I wish. I mean, we are trying to form a team that I'm hoping to get at least somewhere out there in India, if nothing else, because I don't like pretty much. Like pretty much all our players are growing old and going into the working, going
Right.
working world.
Yeah.
So we can't really think of like, okay, let's practice for 5 more years and then do something internationally.
Yeah.
That won't work out. So currently, so my main aim is somehow reach the finals of a well-known tournament in India, like a very high-skill tournament. Not like there are many low-skill tournaments happening, and
Right.
I I think we have the capability of reaching the finals of those tournaments,
Right.
but reaching a final of a tournament like say a free to play or a Taiwan Cup or something is something
Right.
really reputable,
Yeah.
and that's my final aim, which I really want to do before I stop gaming as a whole.
All right. All right. Fair enough. Um, who's your role model in Dota and outside?
Uh, you mean internationally, right?
Yeah, it can be anyone. It can be
Uh,
anyone. For Dota, your role model for Dota and your life in general. Anyone.
Probably my role model for Dota is a player who does not play that much. I mean, who is recently now back in Navi, but he was my role model since TI1. That's art style. I did start following Navi just due to art style. I
Right.
s and that time I used to, and back then during the TI1 time when I used to draft, my drafts were typically a copy paste of art style's draft just because
Night Stalker, your Wipers.
stuff like that. Yeah. So
That your typical Navi draft is opening with a Night Stalker, ladies and gentlemen. If you haven't followed back during TI1.
I mean, it's pretty much like during Dota 1 days, Asta was in DTS. I used to support DTS,
Yeah.
shifted to Navi, I started supporting Navi. And at the end, I stuck with Navi, even though Asta got kicked out and a full scene happened.
Right.
And comparing to an idol, I mean, I really don't follow anyone that way in general, to be honest.
Right, right. And okay, let's get the last few questions away. How's how's your mentality both in game and outside? Are you a calm being or are you a rager, Rane?
It completely depends on how many games I've won or lost before the game I'm currently playing. Because if I've lost a lot of games, I'm in completely rage mode. I just want things done how I want them done. I don't want people even having fun. Otherwise, if I'm winning a game, I'm the biggest thrower in India. I can happily say that I throw the most in India. Let it be pubs or even competitive games, even tournament games. I've pretty much thrown the most games
Yeah,
in India.
I remember specifically one game I was watching when I was back in the US and you were streaming streaming from UK. But there was one Invoker game, if I'm not mistaken. You're playing Exalt Invoker, and I specifically remember like 25 minutes. You're like 18 kills in, and then suddenly you're like, voila! You're blinking into like people and throwing. Pretty much free for all throw. That's one game that comes to my mind. I'm pretty sure there are many in line. Let's keep that discussion for another day. Yeah. So you did talk about top tournaments like the Taiwan. What tournaments rather lands specifically are you planning to attend this year?
I think uh, in December as this month, the two tournaments that was supposed to happen got postponed. That's Gamescom and
Ye-
GamingCon, one in
Right.
Delhi, one in Bangalore.
Yeah.
So I think those are tournaments are going to come in. If those tournaments are before the 20th of January or after the 10th of Feb, those will be probably the next two lands I'll be attending.
Right. Right. Cool. Okay. For the last part of the okay, one more question before we do like a quick rapid fire round. Yeah. The last question is gonna be: do you follow any Twitch streamers? If yes, which ones?
Uh, in the international scene, I follow Sing Sing.
Right.
I follow I think
RTC? No?
I don't know. I really don't watch. I watch streams like Sing Sing, No Tail, Bulldog just as a. I don't watch streams to learn.
Right. Right. Yeah. It's not about learning. It's more about the fun factor.
Yeah, like normally to learn, I watch people in game and the player perspective. But
Right.
otherwise on stream, I just watch Sing Sing, Bulldog, and No Tail just because of the amount of
Yeah,
entertainment they provide.
absolute entertainment. We've seen Sing Sing is a pure entertainer straight out from his talks, and Admiral Bulldog having pretty much having fun teammates. Yeah, we've seen Boo Boo, we've seen Shiva, we've even seen Helena live a couple of times.
Yeah,
That was absolutely entertaining for people who haven't watched it. Do go to YouTube and check out the watch for that. Helena live, Admiral Bulldog, absolutely hilarious. Okay,
you can watch Admiral Bulldog teaching Helena Live how to play Furion.
how to play Fury and the base team, the TP into the fountain. Oh god, that was hilarious. Okay, we'll start with the rapid fire before we move on and take a few questions from the viewers. Okay, rapid round. Here we go. Favorite movie,
Now you see me.
favorite food,
Pizza,
hobby outside Dota,
snooker, basketball.
favorite cosmetic in Dota.
In Dota, Dragon Claw Hook maybe. I don't know.
All right. Favorite game other than Dota.
CS:GO.
Uh, your a place you hang out outside. Your favorite place to eat out or hang out, anything.
Probably a place called Socials in Bombay.
Socials, right? Yeah, Socials is also one of my hangout places here in Bangalore. There is one on Church Street, so that's one of my favorite hangout places. All right. With that, let's go ahead and take questions from the viewers. Okay. Azzy Dodo has a question. Who is the captain of Team 101?
The captain of Team 101 is currently AJ.
AJ. So
And
he's the captain and the drafter as well, is it?
yeah,
Cool.
I mean, the in-game captain completely varies on situations. To be honest, like because sometimes during the late game phase, every call is given by AJ no matter what.
Right.
But during the early game, mid game phase, if me or my mid have the potential to make the calls and take the team to victory, then we just take the initiative and do it. But at
Right.
the end, drafting is completely on AJ, and the main in-game calls are pretty much all AJ.
Cool. And the next question is going to be from one of your so-called temporary teammates.
Not Musty, please,
Musty.
not Musty. Oh God.
Why you suck so much, Rane? Is this
Tell him,
question
tell
here?
him, cause I have teammates like you.
Touche, touche, Musty, touche. So let's. Any more questions? King Charlie asks us if can I play as your opponent? And I'm not really sure if it's a one-on-one, if he wants a one-on-one matchup or if he wants to play against your team. So let's just put that question out for both the scenarios.
Sure.
Sure for both?
Yeah.
All right, King Charlie, you are on, my friend. And what else? What else? All right, we actually have Rats in house. He's gonna be asking the next question. So,
R.I.P.
RIP. All right, Rane. The question from Rats is, how's the UK Dota scene, and why did you not try competitive there?
honestly, in UK, the Dota scene is pretty bad because out there, the gamers out there generally play League of Legends.
Yeah.
Like, I was studying in Leicester, and my university had societies.
Right.
So, there was a society specifically made for League of Legends where there are tournaments among university versus university,
Right.
but there was no society for Dota. And I don't know, sadly or whatever, a society is coming up next year for Dota while I'm not there.
Right.
So I mean, there are very very few Dota players, and whichever Dota players I met in my university were not really skilled at all.
Right.
By not really skilled, I mean 1K people, 1K MMR people.
Right.
So they there were like two 5K players I met, but the the majority out there aren't really skilled and prefer League of Legends more just because of the recognition out there and just because of the tournaments and the probably like the way how if you compare the way League of Legends and Dota 2 in India is the same way how it is in UK, like the opposite.
Right.
The level of popularity Dota 2 has out here is
Yeah.
that level of popularity League of Legends has out there.
Yeah, I've seen me being in the US. I know I know how much of it is. League of Legends is pretty much like a religion. You can have like Star Wars there first, and next is pretty much League of Legends. Everyone is playing it. Everyone is talking about it. Be it competitive, be it fun. You walk and meet a couple of people, and you say you're a gamer. They're like, oh, which is your favorite champion? And you're like, no, bro, this is like not League of Legends, not my piece of pie. And so yeah, that is pretty much it. Yeah, one more question from Rats. This, this is a good one. Who is the best video editor you have come across, and why is it Rats? Easy peasy.
I'm not gonna say it's Rats because he's not agreed to make any video for me lately. But at the end, yeah, it is Rats. But because I have seen his videos, and I think he is one of the only Indians who actually makes consistent videos every week or something like that.
Right. Yeah. Okay. The next question is from Charlie. Who is Edina Bobo? You did reveal to us that it was one
Edina
of
Bobo is John
Musty's.
Cena.
John Cena. Okay. On a serious note, do you know his name or his in-game ID? The one we can probably recognize him by.
He is Musty's cafe mate, and like he doesn't like to be that he doesn't like to be that well known or all those things.
Oh, he doesn't want to be
He's a
well known.
he's a he's a
That
safe player.
he's Batman hiding, working from the shadows, not wanting to reveal himself. So, and do we have anything else? No, I think that is. We can go ahead and wrap this up. I know you're just waiting in bated breath to get that game going, which will be probably starting in about 10 minutes. So, with that, thank you, Abhishek, for Rane, for for having a talk with me and joining me for this show. I know it was very last notice, but you being the sport you are, gladly agreed, and we made this happen. So thank you so much. And
Thank you, my pleasure.
yeah, and do you have any final shoutouts?
Shout out to my team. I mean, shout out to y'all for actually having me on the show and since it's the first show, I was really happy to be the first one on it.
Right.
I'm not gonna give a shout out to Musty because he just blew out. But other than that, yeah,
A three case
shout out to
crowd.
the rest of my team and not Musty.
There you go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for none other than Abhishek Fiorani. See you guys next week. Do stay tuned. I'll get the updates out. You can follow me on Facebook. I'll post who the next guest is gonna be. So bye bye for now. Bye, Rane.
Bye bye. Thank you.